Hello and welcome to the OLY podcast show. I hope you're having a great day so far. If you're like me and you woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, just remember tomorrow's a new day and we will go on together. Before we get into the show, I just wanted to do some housekeeping. We did, of course, launch our SS20. We've been working on it for so long, so the launch has went really, really well, guys, and I just wanted to say thank you. Anybody who's put in an order or wrote to us or whatever, it makes such a difference, and for me, it's that's where the magic is. So yeah, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because it really makes all the bump and grind a lot easier to deal with. What I will say is, if you wanted to buy a product or you've got something in an abandoned cart, I would say get on and get it, because stock by the end of the week will probably be completely nearly gone or very close to it. So just to avoid disappointment, get on, get your order in, and we'll get it shipped out to you ASAP. On to the show. We have none other than local boss lady Caoimhe O'Kane. Caoimhe's a great friend of mine. I've known Caoimhe for the guts of 2 years now, and I've always shared my trials and tribulations with her, and she's been such a help and resource to me in kind of my business career. Every time I'm with her, I just seem to learn something, so I just thought that she would be incredible to get on the show, and of course she comes on and nails it. So Caoimhe is an incredibly aware person, and you get a real sense of that whenever we're talking. You know, she went through a couple of things with depression and anxiety, and for her to be able to take a step back and objectively look at that situation and how it impacted her business career or whatever, it just takes such awareness for a person to do that. You know, I hope everybody can learn from that a wee bit. Also, Caoimhe has incredible purpose in what she does. She has a healthy meal prep company, and typically people within her space will always bend and break the quality of their product or service just to get that extra bit of profit or that extra marginal gain. But Caoimhe's totally against that. She wants to ensure that her customers are getting the best product that is absolutely possible, so that they can progress in the way that Caoimhe know they should. We talk about a lot in the show, from business to personal to the journey and whatnot, and of course we ask her the big question of how she defines success, and another great answer. So anybody listening to the show, I have some good news. We are giving out a discount code that only the OLY podcast show listeners will be able to avail of, and this code is usable for every single product online on our website, and the code is OLY podcast. That's OLY podcast, not the OLY podcast, just OLY podcast, all in capitals. You guys are the only people that know about this, so if you want to share it, you can share it. If not, don't. You know, we won't be publicly sharing it, because we want to try to give incentive to the people that are kind of loyal listeners. So if you like today's show or any other show you've listened to, like it, share it, and above all else, tell a friend. We do not do this to make money. We do not do this show to want to become the biggest, baddest on earth. We just want to spread the message of health, fitness, wealth and wellness to the masses, and it is only through you guys telling your friends and getting them onto these shows that we can do that. So I'll leave you with the company motto, that is small victories repeated daily, and I hope you enjoy today's show, guys, and thank you so much for listening. Introduce yourself.
How's it going? My name's Caoimhe. Lewis sometimes calls me Caoimhe. I own EatNaked NI. So EatNaked NI brand was launched in 2017, but you're right, I started the meal prep business in 2015, and that came about just with my own passions, really, figuring out or realising how healthy eating had improved my life, starting in the world of CrossFit and kind of being more aware of how do I improve my health and my functionalities for everyday living, and it grew from there.
I'm assuming is kind of the food industry something that you've been in for a while?
I have always been in catering, yeah. My first official job was actually at a local pizza outlet, and it was just really good fun from day one. The atmosphere was great, the working with the team, just meeting deadlines of, you know, getting orders out to customers and that general buzz. So I've always been passionate about catering itself. And then I realised, healthy eating, that's the direction I want to go in.
When did you kind of move into was there something that happened maybe in your life, were you unhealthy yourself and you wanted to take it serious, and then kind of, even start there, what was the turning point from going from general catering to healthy food catering?
Great question. As I say, I've been in catering industry my whole working life from just before I turned 16. So I was familiar with the industry. I loved creating food. I loved being creative with food, and I wasn't what I would deem healthy. How I would deem healthy now. I wasn't really living that lifestyle. I wasn't really aware of any taking care of my health, or didn't do anything to take care of my health. I was just an average young woman. And when I was around maybe about 8-9 years ago, I had this interest to change my lifestyle. The people that were around were getting into fitness. Their health was improving, and I could see the benefits to them. And I looked for something to do myself. Joined a personal trainer for 2 years. I spent 2 years, 3 days a week with him. Got into great shape. My health improved so much better. I was a lot more aware of what I was eating and how I was feeling. And then I just swapped over to CrossFit about 5 years ago. And just the whole how to take care of your health, more than just what you do in the gym. How do you take care of that outside of the gym? Be as active as possible. Look after what you put into your body. And then I saw an opportunity. I had a gap in my lifestyle where I saw a gap where I could make my own healthy meals. My brother needed similar support, and that's where it started. It started off almost like a hobby concept. Would this work? Is there a demand for them in the market where I lived? And I spent about a year to 18 months as what was known as naked nutrition. Realised there was a demand in the market, and I wanted more. And that's really where the turning point came from.
It's funny how it works. There's a problem that needs solved. And
yeah.
That's pretty interesting. And then when was the turning point for you to really see that, right, this could be a viable business that you could support a family on, that you could support a house on, etc., all those big adult responsibilities? When was that turning point for you?
I was already self-employed when I started the old brand, Naked Nutrition. I was self-employed. I had a wedding catering business, private party catering business, so I was already driven enough to do something for myself. With the style of bookings and the schedule of that business, it wasn't a full-time job. I saw there was a gap in my schedule, and I tried to run the two side by side for about a year and realised, no, my passion is within the meal prep company. I get so much out of helping people improve their health just by providing them food that I enjoy creating. The turning point was just my drive. I was only really serving people within sort of a 10-mile radius, and I wanted more. I wanted to figure out how can I get this to people across Northern Ireland, and that's where the EatNaked brand, the rebrand, the relaunch, we're here to support everyone in Northern Ireland, and that was it's tied up nicely.
That's pretty interesting, because one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, did you get into food nutrition or healthy food nutrition because that was your passion, or did you get in because you wanted to help people? And from what I'm hearing, it's kind of an amalgamation of both.
Yeah, pretty much the both versions as such. I knew what it did for me, and I wanted to be the person to help others to realise that for themselves. So whilst my passion for catering was still there, I'm very passionate about helping people, and I suppose that's what keeps me going. That's, it's not the easiest industry to be in. It's not the easiest to run your own business, as you would know yourself, and a lot of other people could probably relate. But the passion is just the driving force to this.
I totally get that. So that's kind of, you've really wrapped up well that question. But it's you've always been self-employed, but do you see yourself as this big badass businesswoman who wants to make bank, or is it purely just delivering your service to help people that matters to you?
Yeah, I am led primarily by my passion to help others. I don't view myself as a big badass businesswoman. However, that would be nice. I want to grow as big as I can, and that's much bigger than what I am now, purely because my goal is to help as many people rather than concentrate on what's going on in the bank account, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, what goes on in the bank account helps to help.
Deliver the bigger goal.
It's how you grow, really. But year on year, I compare the business and the growth and the journey, and year on year we improve. The struggle and the challenge is still there, and I think that just comes from always moving the goalposts. So who knows? Yeah, I mean,
think
I'm
though-
coming around to the whole badass businesswoman idea this
I
year.
think though it's cool though, because even a byproduct of you doing what you do and wanting to kind of reach more people, that'll all come.
Yeah.
You know, that success will come, that your revenue will grow, you'll become more financially successful as such in doing that. So we're, as everybody will be able to see, we're in this new schwanky kitchen.
Yes, nice and shiny.
Big congrats
Thanks a
on the
million.
new premise. I know we've just moved into our house, and it really helps to have an environment where you can come in and work your ass off and feel good in, you know, your wee hub that you work from. But
Absolutely.
kind of what was the journey for you to get to here? I know it's not always been like this.
No. 2000 and I'm going to say 18 was kind of where I made a couple of decisions. I've said this before. I made a couple of decisions that didn't work out really, and whilst they weren't pleasant at the time, I think that was the best thing to happen, because it was more, I had taken on 2 different premises at the one time, and it just threw us into a place where we couldn't sustain it. I think there's a lot of positive from that. We weren't meant to be there, clearly, because we're sitting in this new premises today, and it's literally 5 minutes around from my home, and my son goes to school about on the other side of the town. So it's, for me in my personal life, it's perfect. 2018, we had to obviously give up one of the premises, and where we went to was just a little bit too small to grow. So for the last year to 18 months, we've been working on top of ourselves, and you know, we couldn't really push because space was limiting and logistics were completely different to what they are now, and we made it work. You know, we had a fantastic year last year. We made a lot of changes to our menus and our product and service to benefit the customer. It benefited us too, because it was our busiest year yet, and whilst it was very hard logistically and space wise, we made it work. Yeah, we got tired and put in a few extra hours, but it got us to where we are today. And I think sometimes you have to do that. They're the necessary bumps in the road to learn from.
Big time. I think if anybody has kind of followed Keith's journey, they'll see there was a big mad write-up, and I'll not talk about the figure that was put forward, but even that must have been so gratifying for you to reach a certain revenue marker, because you know, it's kind of a marker that every business owner wants to say they've done. It's almost like a milestone. It's like getting that 100 kilo snatch or that 100 kilo clean or whatever. It's kind of the same.
PB.
Yeah, almost. So like, was that ever something that you even, let me be more succinct here, is that something you thought you would be able to do?
No. And to be honest, it's there in front of me when I look at the reports. It's not something I targeted, really. Obviously, we're all in business to make money, and we're all in business to do the best that we can. And I'm still in business to do the best that I can, because I don't believe I've reached that. But to look at the figures and see, we've turned that over within a 12-month period. You know, it's like from honest, like it was £100 that I put into the original idea. You know, it was. I was already running a business, so all my money was invested elsewhere. So this £100 was, let's buy a little bit of stock and a little bit of some containers to serve 3 or 4 people, and it built from that. So from that, and knowing the struggles that I've been through in the last almost 5 years, it's definitely rewarding to know that the business is there. Like, we have that many sales, so it's a successful brand.
That's pretty interesting. One thing in your game, from what I'm seeing, is that there's been rapid growth over the last kind of 3 years. And what have been the difficulties in scaling, the main struggles? It was actually struggles, what you said, and that's what reminded me. But yeah, what's been the barriers to scaling, and what have been big things that have helped you, and maybe things that have held you back?
This is a great question. We actually had this conversation. We're in the middle of this conversation, doing a little bit of research at the moment. I have every confidence in what we're doing. Our product has proven itself with so many different customers and athlete feedback. You know, what the food has done for them, what the service has done for them, and at least 95% of feedback we receive is positive. The other 5% is also positive, because it helps us learn and change. You know, but I think our limiting factor is we're in a transitional generation where we are only really learning how to improve our health and what can we do to control that, and we don't need to rely on medication. We don't need to rely on alternative methods. If we can just move our bodies how they're meant to be moved and eat better quality foods, then we can help to improve or avoid sickness and diseases. So I think that's a limiting factor, because that's what we're trying to push forward with the quality of our food. It's getting people to realise
how important it is. And
that's where it's been difficult, because our business, or our product, is made from whole foods. There's no additives, no preservatives, nothing processed. It's all natural ingredients, and we're kind of in that traditional time of helping people to realise, or hopefully trying to educate them, yeah, this is great quality food. This is the best quality food that you could get. So I think sometimes that can be a bit of a struggle, but there's my passion, and I'm not willing to, in the nicest possible way, and all due respect, I'm not willing to give in. Yeah.
No, I respect that. In terms of actual, so that's an interesting part. I wouldn't have even recognised that. Obviously, I'm not in your game, but that is interesting. I wouldn't have even taken that into consideration. In terms of logistics or maybe even you, what are things? Actually, yeah, we'll focus on you. What are things that you've maybe learnt about yourself, or learnt about your leadership skills, or learnt, like you'd said, you made a couple of, we'll not say bad decisions. Well, yeah, we'll go with bad. We'll say you made
positively bad
decision in 2018. Was there anything really that overnight you changed and you seen kind of stuff materialise?
I think so 2018 was the start of a journey. I kind of posted in November that I had experienced depression, and I'm still working on that on a positive side. And I think 2018 was, some of the decisions I made may have been clouded by my own personal struggles, and I suppose now that I'm in a different place, I can look back and analyse that and kind of say, right, I probably could have made a better decision. I've learned from it. I think I'm a stronger person for it, and I'm taking myself and the business seriously this year. We chat about this all the time. I'm making decisions with the business at the forefront of my mind.
Awesome.
And I've made some decisions that I probably would have avoided in the past to make everything nice and cozy and everybody happy. But if I want the life that I'm aiming for, and the reason I started self-employment, then I have to do this. And not everybody's your best friend when you're in business, and that's not in a negative way, but I have to put the business first, because it's the business that's going to provide me with the lifestyle that I want to live with my son. It's the business that's going to be the success story that helps so many people in Northern Ireland to live a healthier lifestyle, and I want to make an impact with what I'm doing. I don't need to be centre spotlight or anything, but I want to know that what I've done for the last 5 years has made an impact. Yeah,
that's crazy. No, that I really relate to that, and I don't want to talk too much. That's one thing I'm trying to do in these things, but
compare stories.
Yeah, I really relate to that, and it's something that I'm doing this year as well. Is literally, there's no better way to contextualize it, but just take it serious. And there's going to be people listening being like, "What? It's your job."
Yeah.
But there's taking it. There's playing business, and then there's doing business.
Yeah.
And it's kind of being, it's kind of scrutinizing every decision you make. Is this profitable? Is this right for our model? And it's funny because I can already see the direct kind of, there is stuff that's happened in your business that I'm seeing the direct response from that. So that's pretty interesting though. We'll go on to kind of maybe an ugly question. What is the hardest part of what you do?
To be honest, the financial worries, meeting deadlines, making sure that we're being so engrossed in meeting targets, and that's business, and that's just the ugly truth, to be honest. I suppose, it's just making sure. I'm a type of person where I don't want to let anyone down, and I think I'm too open to that, and I think that's the downfall. Is I need to learn to be okay that not everybody's going to love me all at once. In terms of business, if it's financial strain is not easy, but it's something I've learned to live with, and we're always fine, and we're always fine, okay, and we move on to the next week. There's no issues. I think I just have myself wound up so much to get everything right.
I think you're right, and it's like something that it's a skill almost being able to deal with that. It's like it's just pressure in the back of your mind.
Thick skin.
That's almost there all the time, and I'm the same. And it's a worry, but it's a skill just to be able to decompartmentalize it and just know and trust the process.
Yeah.
So kind of
that's a byproduct of taking the business seriously. When you do that and you have the business at the forefront of your mind, then those once upon a time worries start to diminish because you're actually taking things seriously. And
it's your act. You can kind of bite on your actions and you can go on your actions knowing that, you know, I have literally tried everything that I can do. Mm-hmm. I've done everything that I could do this week. That could possibly aid the growth or get sales in, etc. And it's whenever you're so true to yourself and you do that and you show up on that front every day, it gives you like this weird, I won't say confidence, but it definitely helps your mind rest a bit easier, knowing that there's nothing else you could have done.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. If you know you've given your best, then that's all you can ask yourself.
And as cliche as it sounds, it is absolutely true. Mm-hmm. And kind of the contrast to that question, what is the outright favourite part? And I think we've already covered it, but what is the favourite part of what you do?
Sometimes I'm not very good at this, and it takes to have conversations with the likes of yourself or outsiders looking in, so to speak. But it's taking note of how well we're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, the people we've met, the shoulders we rub with, the doors that have been opened for us, the people we've fed. It's crazy. I mean, going back to your mention about the article that was in the paper, was it last week? To read the part where we're feeding athletes from all over the world when they come to compete in the Irish CrossFit community. That's a pretty big deal, you know. Mm-hmm. That we're someone that those people rely on. To do
a bit of name dropping, Caoimhe already works closely with Emma McQuaid, but whenever Sam Briggs comes over, she eats your stuff. Yeah. Whenever Sarah Sigmund's daughter comes over, she eats your stuff.
Sarah Sigmund's daughter and a couple of the American female athletes, you know, when they were over for Filthy 150.
Just to name a few, and to put that into kind of perspective, is that these guys, their full-time job is to be a full-time athlete, and if you're a full-time athlete, you're sure as shit you're going to want to know what's going in your body, and you're going to want to trust it. Yep. So that just kind of gives Caoimhe credibility in this, because she's probably a bit too, we'll put it this way, she wouldn't boast as much as I would.
You do it for me, Lewis.
But we'll kind of move on to the big question that we ask everyone, and just to add context, it's something that both me and Paddy have realised. The question is, you know, what is your definition of success? And there's been so many different varied answers, mm-hmm. and so many different responses, and that's kind of why we started this, because you know, if you ask 10 people, 5 of them might say to have £1 million in the bank. If you ask, you know, or the others might think that success to them is freedom to do what they want to do, or having great relationships, or being healthy. But above all else, we've realised that it is so relative to the individual. So what is it for you? What is your definition of success?
On a personal note, probably financial freedom. Mm-hmm. Just on a personal note, you know, when I first started the meal prep business 5 years ago, it was, I want to buy a house. Mm-hmm. You know, for myself and my son. I'm a single parent, so I just want to provide that for him and I, and that's, for me, that's we've done it. You know, but in business success,
general doesn't need to be. You know, you can have a definition within personal life, within business spheres, within whatever, but just
there's so many goals that I have for EatNaked and I, but to quantify success for it, I think just to be the leading meal prep company, purely to know that we're helping people with their health, and to know that we're educating, that people are getting value from the brand. You know, we often say we're not just a meal prep company, because we're more than that, you know. And similar to yourself, you're not just a clothing brand. You know, I want to know that we're offering value to someone's life. They don't have to buy a product necessarily, but just to really educate and be part of that group of people, like yourself. We've had that conversation before, to be the group of people to deliver a healthier future for Northern Ireland.
There we are, Paddy. What about that for a definition? I think to kind of...
Is that a different one?
Yeah, it is. I would really see that as impacting people.
Yeah.
Positively helping people.
Yeah.
And there you go. There's another complete night and day different example. We've had people. Paddy's is freedom to do what he wants. Mine is fulfilling my potential every day. Was it Shane Ryan's was perseverance, and that's a completely different spanner in the work. So kind of, was that always the case? I know you had that financial one of being able to set up that life for you and your son, but was that always the case for you? What did success look like to you 4 years ago?
Probably financial freedom to do what I want, to be able to do, if I wanted to go on holiday with family, if I wanted to invest in something, just to have options. I suppose I was quite a young self-employed businesswoman, and I invested all that I had into business. Now that I'm a little bit older and a tiny wee bit wiser, I would be more aware of not flooding everything into business. I now am thinking of future and equity and assets and all that. So
all those buzzwords,
but I'm more aware of them now.
And do you reckon? So I would say that your definition, trying to positively impact people, that's somewhat philanthropic. There's some element of philanthropy in there. So is that something that you've kind of taken more serious in the last couple of years? Have you read a bit more? Have you kind of done a bit of personal development to kind of bring that idea in?
I think it's my own experiences, to be honest. I have actually, I've opened up a couple of small job roles for people who are benefiting from being in a positive environment, and it's not a huge role for them, but just understanding of struggles and understanding of my own personal experiences with mental health and everything. I want to be that person to help someone. If I'm in a position, I'm going to do it. And we chatted at Christmas about a couple of things that we're getting up to, and we don't do it for publicity, and I'll not mention it, but I know I'm in a position to do something, I'm going to do it.
No, I really like that, and we've kind of been talking about your journey and how you plan on, that's actually what I'm getting to, is how do you plan on delivering this? So what I'm really trying to get at is what makes you from a day-to-day basis. Do you have a certain routine that you follow? Are there books that you read? Are there mindfulness things that you practice? Or kind of what are the things that have helped you literally physically become successful with your time?
It's a mixture of things, to be honest. I strive to listen to more podcasts and read more books.
Just to hop in on that, who's your favourite podcast?
My favourite podcast? I like Ben Bergeron. I do, and probably yours once I start listening to it. Yeah. But I try to stick to my Audible. I listen to Mel Robbins at the minute. I go between different reading materials, so I can't say that I've got a certain genre. I really look up to who I deem successful people, driven people, local business people, and kind of see and tap into what they're doing. Not to mimic, but to see, what can I pick up here? I'm in a good relationship with a couple of gym owners, and I take a lot from them, have a positive relationship, and it's good to kind of network with other self-employed people, because you can share stories and realize, you're doing okay. But
it's an interesting thing. They're like, I'm really taking on board, linking up with more local people, the likes of yourself. Like, we've been good friends, I'd say, the best part of 2 years now, and I know every time we meet, I kind of come away rest assured knowing that my struggles are not just mine.
And likewise.
And that's something that, it's good to go and listen to podcasts and listen to these, stupidly high functioning individuals that are running, 9-figure companies, and but you don't realize what's on your doorstep, and you don't realize the local kind of talent that's there in terms of business and people that have found success. Like, even it's testimony to this podcast alone. Like, we have 35 people Brilliant. From the local Northern Ireland area alone,
excellent,
that in one way or another have found success.
Brilliant. And
especially for me starting out, I was looking, I'm a big advocate of the MFCEO project, the podcast.
Yeah,
if you don't know what to look at
a couple.
And a couple of other ones, but you don't realise, just like, there's people about you that have achieved.
On a different level.
Exactly.
You know?
But it's, and the beauty of it is that generally in one way or another they have experienced what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're in the same industry, the same game that you're doing, they're going to have experienced.
Yeah, everyone's interpretation is completely different anyway. You know, if we all went through the exact same experience, we'll have a different interpretation of it anyway. So it's good to kind of to network and share each other's stories and
Big time.
tribulations.
And so we were just chatting about podcasts there. Is that something, in terms of getting information and learning, is that where you get your main kind of content from? Or your learning content, that is?
That and, again, learning. I mean, I didn't go into self-employment. Educated on how to run a business,
Same.
to be honest. I would imagine most people have a fair idea of what they want to do with their brand and their product and their service. But there's so much more to running a business that we're not educated on. I didn't feel I was anyway, and I'm still learning. But with those challenges and hurdles and bumps in the road, you learn from them, because you realise, don't want that and I want that, and you kind of learn what direction to take things in. So my own experience is listening to podcasts here and there, reading here and there, networking here and there. Social media has a positive impact for something like that. You know, if you're following brands and people that you look up to, you can see a pattern.
To emulate
from a
that.
business aspect, you can see a pattern of where their business is going and
Perfect.
what direction they're going in.
That's interesting. So, like, definitely consuming educational content would be something that you would advise.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of, like, even for you to say that networking, it's actually something that me and Patty touched on this morning. Getting out and meeting people, that was one thing that we both did not realise would help us.
Yeah.
Like, for me, when I started out, I thought it was me against the world, and I was like, oh, nobody's going to want to help me, and that's the complete opposite.
Running a business it's a very lonely experience.
For sure.
And, you know, when you get up in the morning, your first thought is probably, what have I got to do today? How much time have I got to do it? Who's going to help me? Networking is on probably at the bottom of the list, to be honest.
Big time.
I was in Coleraine today for a meeting. I knew you guys were coming this afternoon, and I was placing my day around that. And today has been a very successful day, you know, for the business, and just being comfortable with stepping outside of your norm, and you don't have to run, you know, black and white schedule. Just network and get out there.
And what's maybe one thing you've done in the last 6 months to a year that you didn't do last year that you're noticing a big difference from?
In terms of the business?
Yeah, positive. Well, it could be personal or business, because if it's affected you in your personal life, it's definitely affected you in your business life.
I've tried to work on my own work-life balance, because up until then I was putting the business first. I was working day and night. I could work round the clock, but I realised that has the effect on the business. So it's separating myself from the business, taking time out, you know, clocking off pretty much. That's been a huge benefit. I've got back to consistent training, back to consistent nutrition, and my health's improving and fitness is improving, which then has a positive impact to the business. With business terms, we made a lot of changes to our menus. We look at the trends of our purchases. We see when the customers are motivated or enticed to buy, and it's generally around menu change, and they've got something new to offer. So we took a lot of time, July and August last year, took a lot of time to design upwards of 60, 70 meals to throw them into a menu rotation. So we change our menu every 2 weeks. So we're constantly changing and giving customers new options, and because we're aware that if they want to stay with us long term, then
you need to have that change.
Need to keep them stimulated. So
that would be what I would define as a data-driven decision.
Yeah,
customer-driven,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's something. It's funny you said. That's something we're doing as well this year. Is that kind of we're literally cutting our product range in half. Yeah. In this SS20
less
launch.
Is more.
And exactly, you know, we used to try and please everyone, and now we're realizing who our customer is and who we're actually selling to, and that's definitely something that I'm sure you've kind of gone along the lines of. But one thing I wanted to ask you, and it's funny, I thought about it on the way up the road, and since you own a meal prep company and you're into your food, what is your favourite meal?
I'm gonna have to.
How do you say pizza?
My other, I
Fish
don't know.
and chips.
My other business, Eleanor would say pizza. My other business was actually a pizza making company, but that's a long time ago. My favourite meal, I actually take all the leftovers and build my meals that way. But if I were to choose off the menu at the minute, we have a lovely pulled pork on the menu for next week. I love it. It's
don't
really
make this
tasty.
about your business, Kay. What is your favourite dinner? What is your meal, your go-to?
Oh, right, okay, get you now. It probably would be pizza with my son, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You can't go past it. Or ice cream.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know. What's yours, Patty?
Pepperoni
Serious?
pizza.
The pepperoni pizza gave me all the nutrition I needed.
That's all you'd eat? If you'd eat one
If it
thing...
fits your macros, bro.
This is right. So this is actually a good question. Coming from a nutritionist, if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One meal?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a difficult one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to say pizza because the last thing I said.
I'd say mine would be, and it changes every time. At the moment, it's a nice lasagna
Oh, yeah.
with about
Homemade.
3 feet of
Cheese.
baguette
Yeah.
with it.
Fresh
That's my
baguette.
dream.
I love food, so I could give you an answer every day of the week and it would be different. I love food. I enjoy it.
So it's coming pretty clear that you're incredibly busy in your business life. Like, how does Caoimhe O'Kane relax and unwind? Does she relax and unwind?
Getting better at it, in my eyes. Somebody else might say something different, but I try to keep myself accountable by leaving work around 5 o'clock to make the 5:30 class at CrossFit Antrim, and that's my switch off time. I'm trying to keep myself to that. Doesn't always work, days run on, demands, we don't meet demands all the time. So I try to use training as my transition from work to personal life. My son's quite busy in the evenings as well, so it's really, we're quite a busy duo. Sundays would generally be our chill out day, and we'd go to the cinema, or in the better weather we'll get outdoors, read, study. Just try to fill my time, but you know yourself, time goes fast.
Did you used to neglect that?
Yeah, for the best part of 2018. Yeah, best part of 2018, I wasn't really training at all, and it didn't have a positive effect on me, my business or personal life whatsoever. So I'm aware of that. Training for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, is almost, it's a natural medication, and you need that hour. You need to be around your friends. Like, a lot of my friends are in the gym, and you need to be around that to remind you of everything else other than work now and again. Outdoors is great, in the better weather when we have it. I love getting outdoors with my son, climbing mountains, nature walks, that kind of thing. There's nothing too fancy, but it's not work.
Do you find, in terms of, I always kind of revert things back to performance, and do you find that taking that extra time out, do you find that that's actually made you perform better? Yeah,
because I'm able to step out of work, and we start really early here in the morning. My driver leaves about 5:30 by the time we get everything packed up, and I can go into the office and I'm so productive in that first hour and a half of the day. It's crazy good. So I feel that we're settled now. The business has a much better structure. We're only here 4 to 5 weeks, and I can see such improvement already. Structure, logistics, efficiency, everything's improving. So no doubt 2020 will be a positive year for us.
And I'm sure we were actually talking about this before we came on. The time to actually organically think about things. Yeah. Because we were all dreamers before we started our business, and to have that time to go and think and mill over ideas and consider things. Yeah. Has that been something that you've kind of went back into?
I have. I find, especially, I think, I'm sure we're all the same, Christmas time is a brilliant time for that.
Oh yeah, big time.
It's just, when the business is shut down for a few days, you have no distractions other than what's going on in your head, and that's when I think, that's when I write the goals. That's what I want to achieve this year, and you revert back to them every couple of days or every once a week or a couple of times a month, and that keeps you going. So I find stepping out and away and not being at work, my mind's able to be, I can expand it a little bit and see, right, where do I want. And if I have a bright idea, say today, and I'm thinking about it this time next month, and I'm going to try and develop that. Sometimes, as you say, some ideas are dreams. So it's really just having that switch off time to really think things through and, well, can I formulate this idea? You know, is this going to work?
Can you execute it well?
Can I execute it? Yeah, because I have lots of ideas for EatNaked, and some are sticking with me, and some I will try to work on this year, and some ideas are a little dreamy.
I'm going to pin you right on that, so it leads into probably our last question. I'm really excited because from everything I've heard from you today, I mean, kind of you always light a fire under my ass, but even hearing you now and hearing the last year that you've had and how much momentum you have going forward, what can we expect from EatNaked in the next year or 2 years? And you know, don't give anything too sensitive away, but you know, tickle the pickle.
Tickle the pickle. I don't mind sharing it. I am going to be, and I haven't really got a timeline formulated. I'm going to be testing the concept of a cafe, hopefully this year.
Ooh.
So I'll test that. If I can get it going, I'll test for 12 months and see where that takes us.
That's exciting. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Healthy food cafe?
Healthy food, of course, yes.
EatNaked?
EatNaked style cafe, but obviously not. It'll be an EatNaked take on a cafe.
You reckon the market's ready for that?
I think so.
Because it's been done. I mean,
think so.
I'm not going to say their name, but fuck it. Did Slim's Healthy Kitchen not get shut down a load of stores? Did the Skinny Kitchen not shut down a load of places? You know, they're healthy, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here more so.
Yeah, I going to play it too. I wouldn't put myself in that category, to be honest.
Woohoo! Oh, I like that.
Just with the style of product that we have,
Yeah,
we've designed menus for it. We've talked about what we'd do, and it's wait and watch the space.
Awesome. And in terms of the current model right now, you know, what can people expect? Just, you know, consistent menu changes or what's coming up in that regard?
Immediately we are now that we're settled in, we have the space and the facilities, and we're growing the team. Our immediate plans are to expand our product range, so not just meals and pots of coconut oats, but we're going to go into gourmet salads. We have a pancake range hopefully coming out the end of this month. We're going to expand our breakfast range, and we're just going to offer a lot more to the meal plan side of things, and see where that takes us.
That's pretty interesting. Well,
you excited?
I mean, have you had the pancakes with the compote?
Oh, we do have what I would say a plain version, but we've a range of.
Mate, seriously good.
Well, wait to see. These are miles above what we're doing now.
Just talking of pancakes, what's your favourite dessert?
Apple crumble and ice cream. Hot apple crumble and ice cream.
Oh,
hot and cold. I love it.
The filth. But listen, I think that's enough for a day of chatting.
Cool.
Thank you so much for your time, Keith.
Thanks for coming down. Appreciate it.
Thank you for letting us borrow your lovely kitchen here. Thanks to Paddy on the back end for getting everything done, and thanks to you guys for listening. So again, this is a project as such. If you have any feedback, please email, please message, leave the comments in. Paddy's going to do all the tags below. We'll tag EatNaked, we'll tag Keith herself. Go on and check them out if you need any healthy meal. Even like you have an advice service to use as well.
Yep, yeah.
So even if you don't want to buy the food, just get on that, and if you have any questions, ask Keith. She's an expert.
Here to help.
Suppose. Yeah. But yes, thank you so much for your time, guys. And we'll wrap it up there, and I'll leave you with the OLY motto, which is small victories repeated daily.